Okay, formidable. Some people will argue that this line is Tyler referring to 13 years in the future relative to now. I guess it's kind of based on the notion that fast forward 13 years now is interchangeable with now fast forward 13 years. And I guess technically that's true, but in this case, I would disagree. And not really on the basis of grammar specifically, but more usage, how we use language. That interpretation doesn't work here, because if I say anytime now, whenever you're ready now, when I'm ending it with now, I'm talking about a condition that exists in the present and extends backward into the past. It's still going on right now. The first line sets us up to understand what's coming next. What comes next is, in fact, something that extends into the past. Like we just said. Don't know what it was, but somehow. Past tense. To say this, Tyler has to both know how afraid he is now and how afraid he was in the past. It's not about tricky lyricism, it's about being a clear communicator. You could insist that this is him speculating about how afraid he'll be in the future. But if that is the case, he does so very strangely. He only does half the job, and by looking at other lyrics talking about the future, we'll see how that is. Outside of the range of, science and mathematical calculations, there are limited ways we can talk about the future because we don't know what it contains. So we might talk about what will persist into the future. We'll talk about what will change in the future, things that we fear and would like to prevent, or things that we hope for and want to commit to. And all of these things generally come with a why, a reason. Let's look back at some other lyrics. We're gonna go fast. Fall away. I will keep the lights on in this place. There's the thing he's gonna do in the future. Because I don't want to fall away. There's the reason. March to the sea. Future tense. We'll go to the ocean pier. What's the reason? Because it happens this time every year. This is going to persist into the future because, so far, that is the thing that happens 100% of the time. We're not talking about a because in the sense of motive here, just context for why the thing you're saying is going to happen in the future is going to happen, because without it, what you're saying doesn't make sense. Last one, truce. The sun will rise and we will try again. Future tense. Will rise, as the sun tends to do. We will try again. We're committing to something in the future. Why? Because chorus. That's what it's asking us to do. Stay alive for me. And we commit to doing that. As opposed to the sun rises and we don't try again and we just die. So I'm sure you can see at this point what I'm getting at. There's no why. Okay, don't know what it was, but somehow we played it out in reverse. He doesn't say what's played out in reverse, or how he knows that's gonna happen, or what's gonna cause him to be more afraid, where this causal relationship is. Is it just a vibe he has? Imagine someone saying this to you. Gonna be afraid of you in 13 years specifically, for reasons unknown to me at this time. Moving on. What? But obviously, it makes a whole lot more sense if it's 13 years ago, and we're looking at it from the present. That's when the band started. And just to be very thorough, here's some things that didn't happen 13 years ago. Josh and Tyler meeting. As you know, they met mid-2010.
What ended up happening at that show is we got one song into our set and the cops shut us down. So our first show together as 21 Pilots was for one song only, and Josh lost his job over it.
But you said it wasn't until a year later that you actually started playing together, but in between, I assume there was talk about music constantly.
Yeah, well, we talked during that year that we didn't play music together. We just we built our friendship, and I think from the very beginning we wanted to play music together.
So the album that Formidable is on, Scaled and Icy, came out in 2021. The show they met is likely this one in 2010, which is 11 years, not 13. How about Tyler and Jenna meeting? Tyler and Jenna met either summer or fall 2012.
I met her probably almost 3 years ago now, 2.5, 3 years ago.
And here is an Instagram post from their first anniversary, December 2013. So that's 9 years ago. And definitely not the tiny baby, who's been here 15 minutes. But
we kind of started playing, and, I would just start playing drum parts to what he was playing on piano, and he was like, man, that's cool, I like that, or, try this. And so we just kind of started working on that whole thing, and it was, I don't know how long, not too terribly long. That was probably in October of 2008, and it wasn't too terribly long after that we decided we should start a legit band.
Ooh, that's 13 years. Now, Nick didn't start playing with them until January of 2009, and they didn't have their first show till then. But even if you consider that the start of the band, 2021 is still the 13th year of 21 Pilots, or more importantly to this piece of writing, Tyler's 13th year as a guy with a band. Do you want to count? We'll count. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So, unless Tyler has, a really old dog that we don't know about, pretty sure this is the thing. So I know this MTV Unplugged shirt says doesn't say established, it says 2011, but that makes sense because MTV Unplugged with Josh and Tyler in that configuration, they've been playing together since 2011. But Tyler, as a speaker, has had an audience since 2009. And because I know someone's gonna say it, let's talk about this. What if he was addressing, the idea of 21 Pilots as its own entity? Not a bad thought, but to kind of skip ahead a little bit, it doesn't hold up in the lyrics. Let's take a look. So this I can kind of see, I just can't believe that I'm for you. Maybe he has a feeling of not being up to the task. However, we can't cherry pick. It has to also be consistent with the rest of the song. So, this doesn't work? In any sense, Tyler has been everywhere the band has been. This I can't really see because it doesn't really make sense for there to be some sort of power disparity between him and the band he, controls. But what if it's controlling him? Stop.
It's possible.
It's possible.
But is it plausible?
No. Words mean things.
So in order to make sense of what's up here, which is super abstract and tough to fully understand, to kind of pour yourself into a world that's closer to kind of where you're living now, yet very different, and yet you're completely in control of which direction to go and how to build that world out. We know all the narrative like the back of our hands. If the whole time, the whole story, the whole journey has come from the same source, the way that source decides to end that journey is perfect. Whatever we decide to do, however we decide to tell the story, at least our fans will know it's coming from us, and it has come from us this whole time.
So yes, the authors are in control of the thing that is the band and the story. So this, applied to the band, doesn't make sense. Sorry, do you ever just spend enough years of your life on the internet that you can just feel the handful of comments you know are coming, like a gentle breeze warning of future annoyance? Well, what if it is an anthropomorphized version of the bandit? It's controlling it. Focus. In my opinion, these lyrics all make more sense addressed to a person or people listening. For example, it doesn't really make sense for the band to have somehow symbolically left Tyler. People, on the other hand, some of those went somewhere.